My name's Arron Finnon. It's my colleague Chris. We're from the Aberdeen Linux Society, aka EdLUG. Some of you might know of us, some of you might not. And I'm here today to talk about the OLPC, the One Laptop Per Child. As a society, we're very lucky to have got a hold of 2 of these units to go out and show to people. So this is why you've got to see them today. It's the first time I've done this presentation, so if I am an hour a little bit through this, please forgive me, okay? Okay. That's me, the One Laptop Per Child episode. It's an education project. It's not a laptop project. It's a tagline that's being posted about a lot at the moment. For good reason, I believe, as well. I'm going to try and answer some of these questions that I've listed up there. I'm probably not going to answer them all. I quite like a little bit of engagement from the audience when I'm doing talks. So if you've got any questions, I'll try and answer them, but just jump straight in. If it's something going to be like really in-depth, grab me in the bar afterwards, and presumably you're going to hang afterwards or something. Or failing that, you'll get the contact details in a minute. Drop me an email. I'll use the old Linux tagline of feel free to email me and I'll feel free to ignore it. But do drop us an email and if there's anything, talk to me. If you do want a copy of the slides for any of the links or anything like that I've got in there, drop me an email and I'll reply back. Okay? Right, so basically what I'm going to talk about is what is the OLPC project, who's involved, who does it benefit, what are the ideals behind it. I'm going to slightly touch the one server for school and security features. I've not put on slides about it as such. I'm sure most of you probably have some understanding of these sort of projects. How many of you have heard of the One Laptop Per Child project before? My God. So there you go. I'm not surprised it's had a lot of media hype recently. The BBC carried it for a while. It's very interesting. You look at the BBC press on the One Laptop Per Child, and it doesn't mention Linux once, but it mentions Microsoft all the way through it. I don't know how ironic that actually is. Anyway, moving on. I suppose that we need to do the usual bio that we do at the end of all of these presentations. Okay. My name's Arron. I'm an ethical hacking student at Aberdeen University. Some of you may know that Aberdeen started off a hacking course. Some of you might not. I was I'm one of the first years I'm a second year there, but I was the first year to start. I'm an open source guy. As you can see, I'll do the meet and keep the short version. I'm president of the University of Aberdeen Linux Users Society, or the Linux Society for short. I have been for 2 years. I'm one of the founding officers of that society. I'll talk a little bit about it in a bit. I'm one of the clones. I keep on using Ubuntu. Sorry. I've noticed that Ubuntu, you either love it or hate it. I'm sure there'll be a mix of that in this crowd tonight as well. Yeah. So that's just a little bit about me. Like I said, please feel free to drop me an email if I can answer your questions. I will do. The Aberdeen Linux Society is open to everyone, regardless of you being a student at Aberdeen or not. We're very proud to boast that half of our members are non-students. We're one of the only societies that has non-student members, and we're very proud of ourselves that we're open to everyone. Any one academic year, we have between 50 to 60 active members. We'll have a mailing list, much like you guys will do, except ours probably does 200 posts a month. And some of them, you can find some interesting people. I'd invite you all to come and join the mailing list. If you do, please drop a line and say hi. Nothing worse than when someone joins the mailing list and doesn't say anything.
We're all very good at flame wars. We can start.
Yes. Not that I would know this.
We've done flame wars.
They are two separate organisations, the Arron Linux Society and EdLUG, but for most parts we are the same organisation. All of our members are vice versa, and they have all the meetings here. We have a very cool new site, the linuxsociety.org.uk, runs open source software, it runs Drupal. We're very, very big fans of Drupal and Dundee at the moment. Please feel free to come along and we have lots of content going on there. It's all released under the Creative Commons, with lots of how-to guides and all that kind of stuff. Please feel free to come and interact with us. We like that. It's good. The usual getting contact details. You can get me Google Mail, Twitter. How many people use Twitter in here? Brilliant. One. Watch out, it's F1, not Finnon, F1 NUS. But yes, Twitter. I advise you, none of you, to start Twittering, because once you start, it's addictive. Twitter is, they call it nano blogging. Just, you know, it's one of these Web 2.0.
200 word.
140 characters.
SMS on the web, right?
Basically, yes. It's really handy because you can just say something really short, and then it's kind of like an offline messenger is the best way to use it. But if you do use it, I'm there. You can get me on LinkedIn, and you can find me at the Linux Society. Okay. Just a little bit. Linux Societies constitute, you know, what we do at the Linux Society. This always happens to me. I always end up speaking faster than I read my slides, so if it's in 2 seconds. Well, basically, our constitution is to promote Linux open source software as core replacements to Windows. Blah blah blah. You can read it all up there. I'm not going to go through it all. Part of my job is to talk to communities and all of that sort of stuff. I also have now ventured into podcasting, unfortunately. Has anyone ever done any podcasts before? They're incredibly hard work. I have a newfound respect for anyone that podcasts. You know, you do 10 minutes on a podcast, it'll take you an hour and a half, 2 hours easy. The worst thing is when you hear your own voice, hear everything and every it's so tempting to go delete, start again. And you can never delete, you know, I've not learned yet to relax. I'm starting on Hacker Public Radio once a month as well. Aptly called Finnish Student Hacker's Guide to Linux. Okay, this is kind of a quick breakdown of what we're going to talk about today. What's the OLPC project, who's involved, what the ideals are, who benefits. I'm not going to read this word for word.
Thank you.
What are XOs?
XOs, I'll get on to these are XOs, these are the names of the units. And you will be able to have a play with them, guys. Chris is going to give you a short demonstration, and then we're going to let you guys get loose on them, so please don't drop them.
Did they float?
Do they float? I'm going to say, surprise, surprise, I don't know. I kind of like not to know that, but from the way of them, I have a sneaky feeling that they don't. If they do float, if they don't float, and I get them back out, I imagine that they're going to make pretty good weapons. Okay. Well, let me get up to date with my slides quickly. So, well, One Laptop per Child project. Basically, it's a project by a guy called, the guy that came up with the idea was a guy called Negroponte, I think is at least how you pronounce it. I'm terrible at pronouncing names, by the way. He was one of the guys, he was the guy that did the Media Lab at MIT. He was one of the founders of it. He was a very clever guy. And now he's on leave from MIT, and he's now the chairman of the One Laptop per Child project. In April 2002, he gave 20 laptops to children in a Cambodian village, connected to the internet, and said, I'll come back in a year and I'll give you another 20. He came back in a year and was absolutely impressed that all these people didn't have any training, they'd learned it all themselves. And these computers were used for lots of different stuff. They learned the internet on their own in these remote villages, and they started to pick up English. Worrying enough, Google was their first word. take from that what you want. I'm sure Google will agree with that. You know, we've got Google Docs that will help Google Education as well. Basically, he's a very, Nico Ponte is a very good friend of the guy at AMD. And basically, he drew up this idea about how they could give laptops to the world's poorest children. 6 hours later, AMD responded saying, count us in. That's how fast this got up. This is a great project to watch how projects come about in such a fast manner. 2002, a concept. 2008, we've delivered so many X-ray units out there now. So it's getting there. In short, the project's to give computing power to the world's poorest children, and it's seen as an education tool. And that's the critical thing to remember about this project. It isn't about, for us, it's about the technology. It's about, you know, a $100 laptop. But the reality of this project is to help the world's poorest children understand and learn, because some of them don't get to go to school. Some of them don't have teachers. We've had a lot of debate on our mailing list about, is this the best way of helping the world's poorest by sending them laptops, or should we send them money? I don't really want to kind of get into that debate with you guys today. But do feel free to talk, do feel free to think about it and get involved and chat about it. There's a differing views. Me personally, I think that by giving the ability for people to learn and find out what they want to do and how they can apply it to their circumstances, I think that's a great gift to give to someone. And I think that in this day and age is something we should be able to do as a global community. We should be able to pass on knowledge. It shouldn't just be in the reaches of those that can afford to buy Macs and desktop PCs. It shouldn't be that way. But that's my own personal opinion. Well, here we go. Very smug looking character here. It's like a monkey. I wonder how long it took him to take that photo. Practice that, you know. First time I saw that, I think it's definitely the cat that I've got the cream. This is what I kind of talked about earlier on, about that there's very little education for people in developing countries. And this is why this One Laptop Child project is really key as an education project. This is just a platform when you think about it. That's all it is. It's just a tool. It's the information that we're wanting to deliver, what these can be applied to use. Antonio is the Chief Education Officer. It wasn't just a bunch of techies got together and said, you know what, this is how we would build a laptop. They got lots of educationists in and talked about, if we're building this laptop from the ground up, how would we do it? So there's a big kind of education theme that runs through One Laptop Child. So who's involved? The list is endless. There's so many companies involved. AMD, obviously. Google are very quick, as they are with all things like this, jumping on board. eBay. I'm not quite sure why eBay got involved. I have a sneaky feeling.
It's a big market.
Well, I'm thinking, probably. I'm thinking that maybe they wanted to get a hold of these to sell on eBay first. Marvel. Intel. Intel were kind of semi-against the One Laptop Child project, and then they got on board, and then they got back off board just as fast. I'm not sure if many of you guys knew all this stink about Intel. Did you guys hear about it?
Yeah.
Some of you didn't, some of you don't. I'll touch it quickly. Obviously, AMD being involved was a big kind of red cross to Intel. Oh, we're not getting a project with them. But finally, they came on board. Meanwhile, they were building what was called Classmate, which is Intel's version of this. Surprise, surprise, runs Windows. So they came on board, and it's alleged that they came on board on a kind of like a set defined period, kind of like a probation period, sort of. And during this time, one of their sales managers went behind the OLPC's back to a country, I can't remember which country it was, and said, no, you don't want to deploy the X, you don't want to deploy the one laptop per child, you want to take the Intel Classroom. That caused a big stink, as you can imagine, and thus Intel are no longer part of the one laptop per child project. So who does it benefit? Well, it's a children's machine, also known as the EXO. Most of you guys may have heard of it before as the $100 laptop. It's not called that anymore. I'll call it that all the time, but that's conditioning, I suppose.
Does it cost that really?
Well, this is the key point. The one laptop per child laptops never made it to $100. The last time I knew, they made it to $130. The reason being is it's the mass production. The minute these things are mass produced, the cost comes down. But they managed to get it down to about 130. And it's about, education. It's about getting these schools and individuals being able to have this computing power. And it's children. There's hope that these children will take this knowledge on and pass it to the families, and hopefully you have these communities starting to learn more and more and more, and hopefully what they pick up can be applied to benefit their lives.
How do they connect to the internet?
Well, this is
Thailand, remote village.
Yeah, this is a sense sort of an issue with them. They're absolutely fantastic at mesh network, so they can deploy internet connections straight over there. So if you get one connected, a whole lot of meshes will benefit from that. But they're not. But the idea is also. I'm going to talk about the project slightly on the end of this, called One Server for School project, and that's kind of the idea. But it's not just. They're not just for connecting to the internet as well. They work with each other. They do a lot of collaborative stuff together. So kids can sit down and draw pictures together, and play games, and chat, and work on documentation. And teachers can push the coursework out to them. But yeah, and ebooks and so on and so forth. But it's about embracing how we educate people. Education is a field that changes constantly. I'm not a great education myself, I must admit. But how we deliver education to children changes at such a pace now. It's given, especially as we have new technology touching our children's life. I've got, noticed at the beginning of my daughter, at the beginning, the picture on my desktop background is my daughter. And let's be honest with you, she's probably going to be able to use a computer by the time she's 4. And she's not going to be alone. And that's the reality of it. Our children are using computers all the time. The success of the EEE is an example of how more and more, how we're selling products to computing power products to younger people all the time. However, I'm sure we all know the EEE. I've actually never saw a child with a EEE yet. I've seen lots of big kids with them. I'm not sure if that counts. I noticed you had one. That wasn't a dig at you. I'm really sorry. But we've got. I remember when it came out after Christmas, and there was like 4 people in the society with them. They're all walking around with them under their arms, and it's like, I wonder what you got for Christmas. Our vice president, she's. It's an absolute. I thought they were fantastic. I'll never use one, to be honest with you. Sausage-like fingers for starters, and but she's got one, and it's just in her handbag now. And it's like this, what's the world going to? But anyway, so the project's basically aimed at developing the world's poorest children. Okay, but don't mistake that to think that means Africa and all of this place. Some of the world's poorest children live in the Western world as well. There's a lot of poverty in America. These are ideally suited. Some of the reasons this looks like a toy. I'm sure everyone looking at this thinks it looks like a bit like these VTech learning things, right? There is actually a reason for this. Some worries about sending computers out. Worried about, maybe people take them, maybe adults take them. The idea is if it looks like a toy, Nobody wants to be, no adult wants to be walking down the street with a VTEC under their arm. Looking really cool, right? And it was hoped, by doing it that way, that a stigma would be attached when you saw an adult walking through these villages with I don't know if that'll work. I mean, my views that I think inherently by doing, we've got these through the Give One, Get One scheme. We'll talk about that in a second. But I think inherently my issue with that project, that program is that they've now made a black market for these in the West. Because the idea is that they're not going to be worth anything because every child in that village is going to have one. So there's not going to be any value to it. You know, my God, you've got 2 extras. You know, it doesn't really mean anything. But now, they did this, the Give One, Get One, they've gone out to the world, and now my worry is that there's going to be a black market trade in getting these out of countries and selling on eBay and all of that kind of stuff. And I hope that doesn't happen. I think the only answer to that is that they need to deploy the Give One, Get One over everywhere, so that you just flood the market, so that there isn't a dog, there isn't a dollar sign attached to getting it out of the country. But a very good, very good project nevertheless. How did we get it? Well, I just touched on it. Did any of you guys hear of the Give One, Get One scheme that was done over Christmas? Well, for you guys that didn't hear about it, guess what? You give a laptop and you get a laptop.
No one got me one.
Lost in the mail.
Anybody here got one? Anybody got one?
They're, well, this is the bit. They were North America only, which wasn't very nice. They're looking at bringing it to Europe as well. Don't know when. We've done a lot of talk on the One Laptop per Child project. We as a society tend to not have overly technical talks, but more talks about stuff that's happening in the community and projects. And then the technical aspect of what we do is normally done via the mailing list, or as most Linux society, most Linux groups do in the pub afterwards. I've seen more computers fixed in the university bar than I've seen anywhere else, I must admit. I fixed a few in there myself as well, which always amazes me.
You talk about scale, with economies of scale with bringing the price down, but a deal like this is only available in America. Is that because there's difficulties with supply?
Yeah, difficulties with supply, difficulties with getting them out to the countries. You know, if you just say we're doing it in America, you know what the bottom line of sending the laptop from A to B is going to be. But it's going to be different costs for different countries. So, you know, it would have been different money to send it to the UK than it would have been to send it to France. So that was kind of some of the issues there. And then it was the availability issue.
And were all the computers in America, were the gift ones going to American port?
I don't think they were. I think they were going out to developing countries.
So how many, roughly speaking, say to the nearest million, have they
the best way for me to describe it is rather than talk about units, is let's talk about cash, what they were doing. But bearing in mind, these units basically in reality cost $200. $100 to get one, $100 to receive, so the $200. The project is pardon?
Isn't that 260?
You said they were 130.
Yeah, no, so basically what they did is if you gave them $200, they would give you a laptop and they would send one out. So that's just a quick way. The project was, the scheme was only supposed to be for a week. 1 week. They were doing $1 million a day. So needless to say, you can imagine the OLPC lot went, and they extended it all the way through Christmas now. So, like I said, I mean, within 7 days, they've taken $7 million. So, if you can imagine how many actual units that actually brings.
Have they not also done deals direct with countries that have paid your
Yeah. They're getting, I think Nigeria have adopted them, Brazil, they're looking at doing them. They were heavily endorsed by Finnon. There's lots of countries. I've got a timeline coming up later on, and that breaks down when big countries took hold. There's a huge amount of them out now. I don't know exactly how many now, but it's 13 million now, which is great for us because we've got all of these Linux users out there. Which is all good. You know, we're all here in the name of Linux, so this is good news for us. If anyone's wondering what Linux is powering, does anyone know? Red Hat. Red Hat.
It's kind of Red Hat, and you can actually get the image and boot it from queuing in.
Yeah, yeah. But it's basically Red Hat under the scenes. And a new desktop manager called Sugar. I'll talk about that in a second. So like I say, this kind of, what we did was kind of thanks to Jen. That's us there. She's the one on the black top, if you haven't guessed. Anyway, the units, why we've got the units is to down into groups like yourself. And not just Linux groups, but other community groups. Staff at Aberdeen, to promote what can be done with open source and Linux. Because this wouldn't have happened with proprietary software, let's be honest with you. I
How
mean,
much is the Windows version that they were trying to sell?
I think they gave up, to be honest with you. They, at first we thought that the OLPC lot were going to say, no, 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 no. And Arron came out and said, look, it's not about operating systems, it's about education. And if Windows want to port, Microsoft wants to port Windows onto one of these, who will need to stop them? And I think that's a very wise choice of them. I think that was ethically and morally the right thing to do.
I think that could affect the Intel stuff as well if they went to things.
Yeah. In the end, I think basically Windows kind of gave up and went with the Intel version.
That was my question. How much does the Intel one cost?
I actually don't know, but it's considerably more than the OLPC basically. When they did talk about porting these over, you know, the benefit is that the hard drive got the size got expanded. Surprise. These are available for loan for groups, and if you want to develop software for them, you want to try them out on the platform. That's what they're there for. If any of you guys have got any kind of like community ideas, please drop us a line and we can talk about it in a little bit more suited to it.
Was the increase in cost of the other one entirely because of the Windows license?
I think the Windows license on them was something like $3. But it was heavily subsidized. I mean, ridiculously subsidized.
So any difference was due to hardware problems, production problems?
I'm not particularly. I'm thinking.
Sorry.
I think the issue is that they had more bits.
It's a much more higher spec machine than Class May.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it has to be, but yeah, it is. I always try not to do the window bashing, and I never succeed. I'm really sorry.
How much power do they use? How much power?
I've got the specs for them in a second, so.
Like, can you run them off solar power?
These ones here, they're kind of like the first of the production line, so they're not self-powered, but I basically think one full charge gets 6 hours out. So they're very efficient. They have no moving parts inside of them. Apart from the ripcord, of course. I'm always worried, we spoke to the university about them, we spoke to the kind of communications officer. And she said, brilliant, hand-cranked laptops. And I always hate that term, because it sits there and makes you feel, oh, my internet connection's so quick, faster. I said, no, it's a self-powered, it's a person-powered laptop. Hand-cranked, it's a terrible term. They've got lots of different ways of doing it as well. So there's a foot pump for them, there's a yo-yo ripcord, there's solar panels, I think, as well. But we didn't, they just sent us an ordinary powered one. We didn't get any ripcords with it. I was because I felt really sorry for the person. I had to, I felt really sorry for people bringing them back. I could just imagine me there for 20 minutes. It's charged, it's gone out.
Does it not have both options, that you can charge it electrically or...
Yeah. Not on these units, not on the units that we got, but in general, yes. So because, it's great saying you've got a laptop, but the real problem is if you're in a remote area, there's no guarantee that you've got electricity. Never mind anything else. So they had to kind of come up with some clever ways, and find lots of different solutions. It's not one size fits all, it's the reality. They did start off with hand cranks, but apparently just didn't work out the way that they wanted to. If there was a bit that was going to break, you could bet money that it was going to be the hand crank. And of course, you break the hand crank, you're really heartbroken computer when it boils down. Fully functional, but you can't power it off. You know, so when we got these, it was really impressive. We posted the mailing list and said, right, the Linux Society is going to donate £100 to the One Laptop per Child project. Now we're either going to donate it to them, or if you guys would like to contribute, we can use to get one, get one. Within 4 hours, I donated 20 quid and everyone else followed suit, and within 4 hours it came to the point where we said, right, okay, we'll get another one as well. So we raised the money in something like 6 days. It's about 400 quid. It goes to show you how kind of popular we've been really promoting these things. It's going to need a lot longer for these units we need, to be honest with you. But everyone that contributed gets it for a long weekend. The remainder society, so that we can go out and show them to people. But everyone that contributes and have a kind of road to set up for them, and they get it for a long weekend to go and show the kids and show the wife and all of that kind of stuff.
You said that it costs $200 to do the you get one, someone else gets one. £400, not $400. Is that a lot of postage?
There was a lot of postage, and there was a lot of tax on the way back, I must admit. I think we paid over 100 quid in tax.
Customs.
Pardon?
Customs with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was we thought we got away with it. Of course, on the box it says OLPC, and they thought it said old laptops. So they didn't think of any duty on it. Yeah, no problem. And then I got a letter from Customs and Excise about 3 weeks later. You owe us £92 or something like that, plus this, plus that. So I have to go and write this incredibly long document about how we're a not-for-profit organisation, we're not for resale, blah, 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 blah. And hopefully they'll give us money back. But my faith in Customs and Excise and tax is somewhat. You can say my hand cramp with them is broken and I can't power up any confidence in you getting that money back.
I thought it was only available in the North America region.
It was, yes.
But they expanded that out to Europe.
No, we got them through America. We didn't get them in Europe. So they're looking at one.
Did you have a friend in the States who ordered them for you, or how did you go about it?
Yeah, we just basically contacted them and said we need to have it sent to an American address. We're very lucky that our president has a cousin in, vice president has a cousin in California. So that's how we got hold of them. Very happy for us to have them, but they weren't so happy to send them to the UK. But, you know, it was we really just wanted to get a hold of them so that people could actually see them and play with them. Because most people have just seen these things online. And it's a shame, you know, and I think it's a little bit unfair that our cousins over the pond get to play with them and we don't. So maybe I'm just trying to have a bit of quality to it. I was talking about the specs earlier on. Okay. Surprise, AMD processor. Not the world's fastest, but fast enough. You've got Doom running on one of these. And well, I don't know why you guys are laughing, because that's his demonstration. The SimCity is on there as well.
Is the Doom version one of the killed processes or just normal Doom?
Just normal Doom, yeah. It's especially hard for the OLPC, you'll see. It actually works really well. I don't play many computer games, but I found myself running around shooting things. Of course, I have absolutely no patience for when it comes to computer games. You don't got to shoot a lot of things. Sorry, random picture alert. We find that I do this from time to time. Anyone that's heard me talk before will know.
What does it say at the bottom?
Oh, he's going, no, this is error 404, road not found. The other one is question everything. Why? Yes, I'm sorry. Chris will know and James will know from time at Dundee. I tend to throw around the pictures up. So. Okay, just a quick recap about the concept. Ultra portable, ultra cheap. These things are very easy to fix, believe it or not. I think there's a video on YouTube of a 7-year-old replacing the processor in one of these. Yeah, I know. Apparently, you get very, very worried when the little sister gets the screwdriver because, you know, she may be able to change the processor, but she just can't seem to screw any of the screws in. And you sit there thinking, oh my God, she's going to scratch the screen. So yes, I have fears for my daughter with a screwdriver near my laptop, but not going to happen in my lifetime. The idea, one of the benefits with the mesh networking is that when they're together, they pool the processing power. So they become more energy efficient and will actually last longer. And the idea is to try and keep children together. Because when you have a child out on their own in the middle of nowhere, vulnerable to lots of things that can happen. But if they're populated around together, they're just basically safe. They're very, very easy to operate. I'll rephrase that. They're very easy for children to operate. I haven't got a clue. I have to be honest with you. I love this project very much, but I am so conditioned to a desktop and how that works that I sometimes find a little bit difficult. We've got a couple of pictures on our website of a 7-year-old. These are taken out to nurseries and childminders and stuff like that. And we've got lots. The reports that I've got back from people who've taken them out to demonstrate it to children is that the children pick them up like that. And I think we find that with all children in technology. I don't think. I used to be a mobile phone salesman, believe it or not, and I. Whenever I used to sell mobile phones to old people, I used to say to them, now, if you don't know how to work it, just grab the nearest 5-year-old and I'll show you. And what I realise now is that I'm having to grab the nearest 5-year-old. I know. How do you work a video player? But they're not video players anymore. I'm getting behind. One of the great things with these is the collaboration stuff that they can do. So they can work on documents and draw pictures. And it's a really nice implementation of this technology. It's basically ABI, you know that zero conf. ABI, ever heard of it? Kind of like Bonjour. Bonjour.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that kind of technology underneath.
What is it? You said like Bonjour, but for those of us who don't know what that is,
it's a zero. If you've not heard of it, it's basically zero conf configuration, which is this thing that Apple kind of invented, if you can say that. And basically what it does is it allows you to, any device that's kind of wireless device, you can connect to it without any configuration. The idea really is that you can connect to printers without connecting to it. It will just go over this mesh network. And you just chat with each other over a mesh network rather than going through standard use. So it's just a way of deploying technology over a wireless network.
Is it secure though?
No comment.
Well, can I just add a little tiny bit I've heard over there is the zero conf stuff. That's like whether you don't have to have a DHCP server, you can have some
Yeah, just the my DNS in there.
And they come up with their own idea of what their IP addresses ought to be, and
for a strange reserved the space thing as well.
that's right. And Microsoft actually will do this in a 172 network range. You've probably seen at times. Does something a bit the same. It's along those lines. So that's the first layer.
Standard, these are standard address range.
Yeah, I think it's 169.
Yeah.
169, thank you. Yeah. That's right, reserved address range. So it's a bit like only it is properly documented in an RMC. And so these fellas do it. The next thing about is the network secure? I'd love to hear that because that's over the top of all this.
No, it's not a security talk. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm sure you can imagine that if wireless devices can talk to each other, there's always going to be a chance of exploitation. And it's just the reality of it. There's definitely you can do to secure it, yes. But it's the same kind of security concept of having a wireless router in the house. If you don't secure it, it's a security threat. If you take invest the time to secure it, it's not. But I think some of the issues that I've mentioned about the OLPC, what I've noticed is it automatically connects to unsecured wireless networks, which is great if you're in Cambodia, but of course very illegal in the UK, because if a website, because the Wi-Fi router is unsecure, doesn't mean that you have permission to connect to it. As some of us know, the first person to get done for war driving was done under the Communications 2003 Act. Surprise, not under the Computer Misuse Act, as you can imagine most people did, but yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like an issue that I have with them. I kind of, and I imagine that's still going to be illegal in America to connect to. I still think it's going to be illegal in America to connect to an unsecured wireless network without permission as well.
That's a legal problem, Philip.
But
That's because the law's wrong.
well, to connect to it, we could talk about that for today. If in my personal view, if I've not been invited onto a network, and it's not my network, and I don't have permission to be on that network, then I have no right to be there. I wouldn't want someone, because I left my front door open, doesn't mean that still gives someone a right to walk into my house and sit on my couch.
You don't broadcast your front door. You do not broadcast your front door on the pavement.
You're worried about your
How about the pub waiter for it?
I like to say, we're going to have different views on that, I've got to be
Are
honest.
we going to get to see these laptops? Al mentioned there is a hard cut-off in this room. They come up, nasty men kick you out.
So this is the UI exchange. The desktop is called Sugar. I'm going to stop in a minute. Basically, Chris will do a quick demonstration of this. Basically, you don't store stuff to your desktop or anything like this. This isn't kind of like a desktop. This is just kind of a representation of your XO here. And then all of these are your applications around it. So you can come out and then interact with something else, and then come back out and interact with. It's not a major change to the desktop environment. It is like not what you expect a desktop to be. I find it very hard to.
So we've got application on the bottom, state in the middle, and what's at the top?
These are your different views. Okay, so when Chris goes through it, this is kind of like your XO view, then your network view, and then your connection view. They also have buttons on the laptop as well to flip in between those views as well.
What are we looking at?
This is the user interface for the one laptop chart. It's basically its version of a desktop. It doesn't have a standard desktop.
Can you just read all the buttons out so people at back?
PC.
Yeah.
Is that what you were saying, that you find it awkward not having a standard desktop? Because I thought you were saying the kids all have to use terminal because
No. I found it a little bit strange at first to get my head around. I must admit.
One of the buttons at the top shows your network, and it will show you all the connections that it can see.
I imagine it might
You should be able to, you should have internet access because there's a wireless network in the building here.
What's the flashing icon?
So it's just trying to connect to the AP and saying, look, what's going on.
So it can tell the difference between another XO and just the Wi-Fi thing.
Yeah, where is the other XO?
The green one, is it?
No.
Can you describe, what do we see there, please?
Yeah.
This, I mean,
Yeah, point. Could be pointing there because the camera sees it.
yeah, that's the big X in the middle is the XO itself, and it's the central point on it. It's the specific XO. All the connections, all the colours around about it are different. The different networks that it can see. Green being unprotected, it can connect to that. With the padlocks, of course, are encrypted in some way. It does. I think it does actually support WPA encryption.
So where's the other XO?
There's an other option on the screen, and it gives you the local neighbourhood. Next bill. I don't know who named these in the first place, but yeah.
I can give you 3 guesses, but you're only going to need 1.
Fair enough.
I was hoping that, if they were going to call one Bill, they should have called the other one Ted. But
Ben. Bill and Ben, surely.
Wow.
Or you may be too young.
I was hoping for Bill and Ted's most excellent laptop.
Can you take us through what each
Right.
of the icons are at the bottom?
Down the bottom, you've got this is where all the what they call activities
Uh-huh.
instead of programs. So you've got your chat programs, you've got your internet browsers, you've got a writing application called Write. Different, is that voice recording? Stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got a music play. It's got a music synthesizing sort of stuff, so kids can make
paint
music
room.
and all this kind of stuff.
Like Tam Tam Jams or something. called
Yeah,
that.
they have got IRC in there as well.
Yeah, I've got IRC in this one.
They also have RSS readers as well.
Tam Jams, that's some music
Yeah,
software.
yeah. My daughter loves it. She still looks at the back of the laptop screen, you know.
One of
What's Pippi?
Pippi's quite an interesting one. Pippi's actually, I'm just going to power that up. Pippi itself is actually for teaching them to program. It supports, it's got some examples, some Python, I think Smalltalk.
Yeah, it's got I think it's Squeak that is the small talk.
So, I mean, it comes up there, and you've got some maths examples, there's sound tool programs, so some Python stuff. For example, you print a square, and then you've got a big run button in the middle, just run it. The square of 3, 4. The circle in the middle shows you
Your
the active programs that are running. The one at the bottom is called the journal, and that stores everything you do on the EXO is stored in that journal. What you did, how long you used the program, and it can be copied to the central servers at the school for backup and for monitoring.
There you go. He's too young to die, apparently.
That's the whole purpose of the project.
Totally.
Yeah.
Certainly at the Linux Society it was anyway.
This is the view the US Marines will have of your home.
If I can remember the keys.